Well, as you know, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin might sign a bill legalizing the retail sales of marijuana in Virginia. Might be less likely to happen now because of some things that happened recently. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Democrats blocked funding for a sports arena in Northern Virginia. And, you know, the question right now would be, would legalizing sales be good for Virginia? If so, why? If not, why not?
Well, there are many reasons which people don't seem to grasp when it comes to legalizing adult use marijuana. It is the #1 way to impact illicit sales. If you want to get rid of illicit cannabis sales, which Virginia has about $3 billion of from what I've seen, you need a regulated market. You need a place where people can go buy cannabis that they know has been tested, has been grown safely, there's standards in place for pesticides and for various molds and things that are of concern. And so you want to be able to know where your cannabis is coming from. And the #1 way to get rid of an illicit market is to build your own self-regulated market.
But it also generates revenue, right? And how can that benefit?
Absolutely. A number of states that have brought on adult use have put that tax revenue greatly towards education, towards infrastructure, many things that both sides of the aisle can get on board with. And so it's so important. I mean, we've seen in Colorado that has now had it legalized for about 10 years. It's bringing in over $1 billion in tax revenue a year. We see that when a state begins an adult use market, it creates almost 40,000 jobs. You're talking about the potential of a new arena in Virginia. Well, cannabis can create more jobs than that arena will create. And that's something that the governor should consider.
Obviously, Gretchen, you know, there are those that oppose the sale of legalizing marijuana sales. Some say it just sends a bad message across the board.
There is always going to be the naysayers and the critics, and I tell folks often that I think it's a generational issue. When we want to legalize cannabis, it's also so we can do research, so we can better understand the plant, understand the medical impacts that it could possibly have. And we can't do that if we continue to leave it in this gray area. If people can continue on with the stigma, they consider it a gateway drug. Not to throw alcohol under the bus, but I think there are plenty of other legal products that people can use that are just as much a gateway as cannabis possibly could be. If you have an addictive personality, it's going to affect you no matter what. But that doesn't mean that an entire population should have to live without the access to this potential medicine. It means that kids who get arrested, you know, for having a joint in their pocket can no longer get student loans, can't get housing. It lives on their credit and on you know, any application they'll fill out for the rest of their lives if they've been arrested just for cannabis. When we're seeing across the country, you know, 38 other states have medical cannabis currently. We see, I believe it's at 24 right now, are adult use states. These all are legal markets where plenty of folks are getting rich, as well as those governments are getting that tax revenue brought in. People should not be going to jail for this product anymore.
Is legalizing marijuana sales, based on your experience working on the Hill over the last several years, is this a Republican and Democrat thing, or can both parties find common ground on this? Because right now the talk is that Governor Youngkin, if he doesn't get his arenas, he's more than likely not to sign this legalization, and then he may be a potential presidential candidate in 2028. So could this hurt a Republican candidate running for election 4 years from now if he were to sign off on legalizing marijuana sales?
I do believe that it is a bipartisan issue. It can cross the aisle. It crosses the aisle for different reasons. You know, when we speak to Republicans, we're often talking about the tax, the jobs. We're talking about medicine for veterans. A big thing that's impacted by cannabis is gun laws. If you are a medical card holder, you're not supposed to be able to own a gun. I would think that's a big issue for people in Virginia. If they want to medically consume, if they want to legally consume on the adult use side, Virginia has a lot of favorable gun laws. They do not want to lose that lobby. When it comes to Democrats, there's a lot more on the criminal justice side, reform that they're looking at. I think when it comes to communities embracing cannabis, they can see that these are good businesses that just want to bring in revenue to the communities. They want to be a partner with that community. We have seen so many businesses across the industry who have won community awards for just being a great business in that community because they want to show that they're beyond compliant. I think people have this misconception that children in school buses are just rolling up to front doors of dispensaries and jumping off and they're handing out free weed. That's not how it works. There are ID requirements, there's security all over the place. I mean, I would urge anyone who is against legalization on the Dem side or the Republican side, go to these legal businesses, go to states and see how it's actually regulated and see what efforts are gone to make sure that it is a safe product for people to consume. That's all this industry wants. They are clamoring left and right for regulations because they want to be beyond compliant. They want to say they have a safe product. They want to have replicable medicines that people can use to better their lives and not be left with this whole idea of reefer madness.
All right, Gretchen Gailey, thank you very much for joining us on Capitol Review.
Thank you so much.